And they bringing it now. Right now. Right when Trump can't go anywhere. He's required to be there every day in court. And Biden's campaigning around Philadelphia. Biden's finally out the basement. They finally let him out. He's holding on to somebody's arm and shuffling around. Meanwhile, Trump can't campaign. And you don't think that's election interference? Dear Diary, aka federal tax form. Today I paid off a porn star so that she wouldn't tell anybody. Bruh. But with these crooked ass people, these Democrats, these socialist communists, globalists that want this country invaded, that want the sovereignty of America overthrown by letting illegals vote, by letting illegals be counted in the census so their district gets more seats in Congress than they would otherwise, so that their party has more say in America than they would otherwise, to let what's happening with kids now and this gender ideology sterilizing a whole new generation of kids. We're going to talk about that later on too. This whole shit now, with the means justify the ends, it's not about a fair playing field. It's not about honest debate. It's about agree or shut up and sit down, or we'll throw you in jail, or we'll prosecute you. And that's why Trump says he is fighting for us. That's why Trump says he is the shield taking the bullets for us. He's right. So then when all this shit falls apart, Joy Reid, are we supposed to then say, there you go, DEI. I see ya. 0 for 6. 0 for 90 effing 1, DEI. Moving right along to the Soviet-style trial. What a sad day and a sad time for America, okay? For the first time in United States history, the President of the United States, former or present, has been tried in a criminal case. Now, just say that by itself, and that's a sad day. It doesn't matter if it's a good case or if it's a sham case like this one, but it's a sad day regardless. Making it doubly and triply sad is the fact that this is a purely partisan, purely political. They're taking us, the people, for granted and using our court system to try to stop half the country from being able to vote for the candidate they want to vote for. They're trying to throw them in jail. They've already tried their best to throw them off the ballots in all these states. They failed because, hello, this is America. Bruh. Last I checked. Hello. So, look, the trial is gonna go on, and I have a very bad feeling about this trial, y'all. I'm not gonna be a pessimist. I don't want to rain on nobody's parade. I'm a Christian. I'm an eternal optimist. Hey, if you're in Christ Jesus, we had the victory already. You heard me. But as far as this trial's coming up, I don't trust a single process, a single step of the process. I don't trust the judge. You don't trust the DA that ran on getting Trump. Yet another one. It's their campaign promise to fulfill that they have to charge Trump. Not only are they charging Trump, it's when they're charging Trump. This Stormy Daniels thing, they were talking about that in the 2016 campaigns. There have been 2 campaigns already that this is old news about. How are they even trying to bring up something that old? That don't forget, Trump has denied this. Stormy Daniels in writing has denied this. Not only that, Stormy Daniels has been sued for talking about it afterwards and lost in civil court and had to pay Trump money because of the lies she told. The star witness in this case, Michael Cohen, he was a rat the first day I saw Sean Hannity put him on in 2016. I was watching that campaign very closely. As a constitutional conservative, I was big into Ted Cruz corner early because we know Ted Cruz is a constitutional conservative. He's a little bit nerdy. That's all right. Hey, the man, got our back when it comes to the Constitution. And then Trump came along down the golden escalator, and he came out with bravado. I loved what he was saying, but I had my eye on him because he was a New York Democrat previously. His kids couldn't even vote for him in the New York primary because they were registered Democrats. So I had my eye on what was going on in that campaign, and I learned a lot. But all that aside, Michael Cohen was out front and center in that 2016 campaign, and Sean Hannity kept having him on TV over and over and over again, and I just couldn't stand the sight of this guy. I couldn't stand letting him talk. Total sleazeball, coward, rat. And now he's been found guilty for perjury. He's a convicted felon and has been caught lying under oath multiple times. But he's the star witness in this case. He goes on every TV channel, along with Stormy Daniels, saying whatever they want, anything salacious, lie, true, it don't matter. There's no fact check. It doesn't matter. They're allowed to get a bully pulpit and talk to millions of people at a time. Meanwhile, this judge, whom I might add, donated to Joe Biden, whose daughter raises tens of millions of dollars for Chuck Schumer and all these other Democrat candidates out there. And totally in the pocket of the DOJ, of the Biden administration, all that. And they put a gag order on Trump, say he can't speak his free mind, not only to the court, to the public, but to the voting public. A former president of the United States cannot say what's on his mind, cannot tell everybody on TV, online, that this guy's a serial liar that's already been caught lying and is a felon. So they've gagged Trump. This judge has tried to gag Trump. Meanwhile, his daughter's out there raising money for Schumer and all these people out there. Adam Schiff's ass. Come on. The guy that tried for years to do the Trump-Russia collusion, said he had the star witness on record time after time after time, saying he's got the star witness, they got the evidence, they got the proof. There was no proof. Lied to everybody. All these serial liars, as that's who's in the corner opposite of Donald Trump in this case. So now, the American people have to watch this go on. The American people have to try to decide. Now, most people ain't plugged in like I am, like maybe you are. You're here listening, you're here watching, you're here. Thank you for being here. Shout out to the chat. Love you guys. YouTube and X. Glad to be here our first time on X. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell. But now we're supposed to decide and decipher what's going on. A lot of people just want to live their lives. They ain't got time for this. They see their grocery bill going up. They see their gas bill going up. They see illegal immigrants flooding their community. They see unrest and war rampant across the whole globe, none of which happened before Biden got in office. Remind you that Russia invaded Ukraine the month Joe Biden got in office. Now, we're supposed to believe this has nothing to do with the election interference, right? Joe Biden's out there every day, right now, campaigning in Philadelphia. Trump can't go anywhere. He's required to be in court. Can't even go to his own son's graduation in high school. 18 years in the making. Can't even go to his own son's graduation. Lots of people are weighing in on this. It's a travesty. And here's Dan Bongino. Let me get this straight. A Democrat judge with a daughter working for Democrats is presiding over a trial in a deeply Democrat city within a Democrat state, bought by a Democrat prosecutor with an assistant prosecutor on loan from a Democrat president's DOJ, in a state where a Democrat AG who ran on prosecuting Trump, and with a jury pool selected from majority Democrats. Yeah, sounds totally legit. And now, why are they doing this? There's a couple of reasons why they're doing this and why they're doing it right now. Obviously, anybody would have a brain that's not a lowbrow bug eater would know they brought it right now during the campaign specifically for election interference. Okay, now let's talk about a little bit of the merits of this case and what actually legal standing they have to bring this on. I got a couple of people talking about this. Let's start right here with this clip from Fox News.
I mean, this is a Frankenstein case. They took a dead misdemeanor, they attached it to a dead alleged federal felony and zapped it back into life. So many of us are just amazed to watch this actually walk into court, because it's not a recognizable crime that any of us have seen. It does not appear to be a federal crime, but that's the theory that Bragg is using. So to go into the Wayback Machine, this state misdemeanor died because of the statute of limitations. Then what Bragg said was, well, I'm going to allege that you did false filings on business records to hide a crime, but he was very ambiguous what that crime might be. He still is ambiguous, but it is assumed to be a federal election crime. The problem is the federal government doesn't view it as a crime. They decided not to prosecute, and most election experts say that this is the type of thing that's failed in the past. So this bizarre indictment is now going to be an equally bizarre trial. And to this day, there's some confusion as to Bragg's actual theory as to what was the exact crime that Trump was hiding from all this.
Right. This is what the Wall Street Journal said about Bragg trying to bootstrap this up to a federal felony. He said, quote, 7 months before the 2024 election, it's a trial that shouldn't happen in a case Mr. Bragg shouldn't have brought. The Stormy affair was sordid business, but the DA's argument is a legal stretch in ways that might bother a skeptical juror or an appeals court.
So let me explain this to you even further, okay? Let me break down what's really going on. So everybody knows about the Stormy Daniels rumor, okay? At last we heard 2 elections ago. Bruh. Stormy Daniels signed a letter public and said she's never had an affair with Donald Trump. This is all some bullshit. Put her name to it, and that was the end of it, mostly. Then she had her lawyer come out, Michael Avenatti came out and tried to pursue the case further, of which they lost. And then because of that, she had to pay Trump money in civil court because she came out against what her signed statement said. And then Avenatti's in jail currently because he's a total felon, screwball lawyer who, because if you're in the Wayback Machine, the Michael Avenatti wanted to be the next president, according to some Democrats, because he dared to go after Trump. Oh, look at this lawyer going after Trump. Maybe he should be president. Yeah, the motherfucker's in jail now. But speaking of Avenatti, he even weighed in on the case with a little bit more of a rational take than you'll hear from any Democrat right now. Here you go.
Join us at a very newsworthy time. Some of your lawyering led to the exposure of the evidence in this case. The New York trial now will be Donald Trump's first and possibly only trial this year. How do you assess the strength of the prosecution's case?
Well, I think what I'm about to say is going to surprise a lot of people, and that is that, I think this is the wrong case at the wrong time, Ari. I think that the case is in many ways stale at this juncture. You're talking about conduct that occurred some 8 years ago. I think the fact that it's occurring in state court in New York is a mistake. And I think that when you are going to potentially deprive tens of millions of Americans of their choice for the presidency of the United States, whether we agree with those folks or not, or regardless of what we may think of Donald Trump, I think it's a mistake to do it based on a case of this nature. I was hoping, frankly, that there would have been less hand-wringing, less bedwetting, and that the January 6th case would have been filed in a more timely manner. There's no excuse or reason as to why that case could not have been brought in 2021, and it should have been brought in 2021. And had it been brought in 2021, we would not find ourselves in the situation that we're in right now. Now, I know a lot of people have been critical of the United States Supreme Court, and as well as the D.C. Circuit. Yep. I think those complaints are frankly misplaced.
Look at there. And now he brought up an astute point that, look, why wasn't this brought up? Well, he was talking about the insurrection case, quote unquote, but why wasn't it brought up in 21? They had the information back there about all of this stuff, the J6 and everything else, and the election interference, everything else they've been wanting to bring from in Georgia, everywhere else. There's a reason all these cases drop within 6 months of each other, and they're all trying to be held in the 2024 year. Obviously, it's the election cycle. But what else had not happened yet in 2021? Trump had not announced his candidacy yet, so he wasn't yet a threat. There was still a hope amongst the Democrats that maybe he would just go quietly into the night and accept the stolen election that the majority of Republicans polled believe was stolen or at least interfered with. So they could have brought all this way before that, especially Stormy Daniels. They knew about her ass in 2016. And they bringing it now. Right now, right when Trump can't go anywhere, he's required to be there every day in court, and Biden's campaigning around Philadelphia. Biden's finally out the basement. They finally let him out. He's holding on to somebody's arm and shuffling around. Meanwhile, Trump can't campaign. And you don't think that's election interference? I know my audience does. I know what's out with my audience. I know you guys are hip and you know what's going on. Every once in a while I get a couple of hate watchers out there, so learn something. Pay attention. Get your pencil out. But yeah, they could have brought all these cases long before they did, but it's for a reason. Now let me explain this trial a little bit more in depth. What they are accusing him of is, first of all, they are accusing that this hush money payment did happen. It may not have. They both denied it. It's okay. That's why you pay hush money, is to deny it, right? So they're complaining they didn't put it on the books, which that crime is a misdemeanor and has a 2-year statute of limitations on it. 2 years. Long expired. And by the way, it defeats the nature of a hush money payment to put it on the books. Dear Diary, a.k.a. federal tax form. Today I paid off a porn star so that she wouldn't tell anybody. I hope these records don't become public. No, you don't do that on your tax form. It don't go like that, man. So, look, now they're trying to say because in 2016, when this was going on, the payment actually was made after he won the election, allegedly, through Michael Cohen, allegedly. They're saying that now it's a campaign finance violation because that helped him win the presidency and that helped further his campaign. It was in furtherance of his campaign. The problem with that is immense. So now he took a misdemeanor, jacked it up to a felony. Now, in between the weeds with that, I'm going to try to get a legal analyst on here in the coming days, in the not too distant future, to really go through this with a fine-tooth comb. But there's like 31 charges about this that they have come up and invented out of thin air in a trash legal argument, okay? Trash legal argument. But they're trying, but it doesn't matter because the judge is crooked enough. Don't forget, Biden donor, daughter raises tens of millions of dollars for Democrat Senate campaigns, They're all dyed-in-the-wool blue and in opposition actively with their time and money against Donald Trump. He let this go through, which no other judge looking at this damn case that's unbiased would have let this go through. So now the jurors have to sit there and say, well, this is what's being presented to us, right? The Trump lawyer is going to have to defend Trump and sit there and say, this is unheard of. You heard Avenatti say it's unheard of. You heard the guy on Fox News, I forgot his name, legal analyst, say this is a Frankenstein case, the way they've tried to strap this stuff together. The DOJ's office looked into this. They chose not to proceed. The FEC, aka the Federal Election Commission, looked into this, decided not to pursue charges. Alvin Bragg's predecessor in the same office as DA decided not to pursue this. And Alvin Bragg, even though he campaigned on it, when he first got in there, said, nah, I can't really do this. And the pressure got to him, the silent donors, the people that say, hey, we put your ass in office. You owe us something, blah, 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 blah. They put him up to it. And now he's brought this crazy ass case. But let me tell you the secret about why this is such a sham. To make it a federal election case, to say it was campaign finance violation, you have to. Now, I have a former FEC commissioner, chair, that was appointed by Bill Clinton, was on the Megyn Kelly show. He's going to tell you it in better terms and more specific terms. But basically, to prove something was a campaign finance violation, you have to prove there could not have been any other motive. Okay? So that Alvin Bragg says this payment did happen, the affair did happen. Let's assume for just a second that those things are true. That would mean that Trump paying off Stormy Daniels was only and for no other reason to win the election. Another reason can't be, oh, he didn't want his wife to find out. If that's plausible, the campaign finance violation is gone. And I'm going to let Brad Smith, former FEC chairman and Bill Clinton appointee, tell it to you.
What would make it a campaign finance violation and what wouldn't? It's very hard. It's very, very hard to show. Here's a little bit of that from April 5th. It was episode 522. Watch.
Let's suppose I decide to run for Congress and I say, I need to be in a debate and I need a really good suit. So I go out and I spend, $2,000 on a suit, which I would never otherwise do, right? It doesn't make it a campaign expense, even though my purpose was to do it to influence the election. Or suppose I'm an individual and I have a messy divorce in my background and I decide I'm going to run for office. And I say to my lawyer, can we seal those records? And I pay my lawyer to try to seal those divorce records. Even though I'm doing it for the purpose of influencing a campaign, it's not a campaign expenditure.
The whole thing's a sham, laid out in no uncertain terms. The FEC, federal chair, former commission, Democrat appointed by Bill Clinton, sat there and said this is not how you do a campaign finance violation, especially a felony. But they trying to do whatever they can do, election interference. Welcome to Russia, baby. Welcome to Cuba. And we shouldn't be surprised. The Democrats are all now socialist communists anyway. So now, why be surprised they're using socialist communist tactics? Who out there is surprised? Not your host. I know y'all smarter than that. I know y'all saw this coming. But what the worst part of this is, is that the people, last episode we talked about how the FBI and the CIA was caught spying and on undercover video, caught spying on Trump and or not Trump in that video. That was J6 and that was Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, how they spied on them. And I said, I wouldn't want this to be done to the Democrats or anybody. That's not what happens in this country, okay? I'm okay if the country feels differently than me. I want to win at the debate stage. I want to put my argument against theirs. I want to put real-time results that we all live in against theirs, against what it was under Trump, against under Biden, things like that, to win on the merits, because the ends do not justify the means. But with these crooked ass people, these Democrats, these socialist communists, globalists that want this country invaded, that want the sovereignty of America overthrown by letting illegals vote, by letting illegals be counted in the census so their district gets more seats in Congress than they would otherwise, so that their party has more say in America than they would otherwise, to let what's happening with kids now and this gender ideology sterilizing a whole new generation of kids. We're going to talk about that later on too. This whole shit now, with the means justify the ends, it's not about a fair playing field. It's not about honest debate. It's about agree or shut up and sit down, or we'll throw you in jail, or we'll prosecute you. And that's why Trump says he is fighting for us. That's why Trump says he is the shield taking the bullets for us. He's right. And I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says or all of his policies. I agree with most of them and think he was the best president of my lifetime. And that's why he's taking these arrows, because we finally had a voice in office. Not Mitt Romney, who they all call racist and homophobe and all that. Not John McCain, who they all call racist and homophobe like that. Not any of these other, Bob Dole. You can go all the way back to as many losing Republicans as you want. They all call us racist and homophobes when all we want is to love our neighbor and succeed and work hard and be the best we can be without the government being in the way. That's America. Or at least it used to be. And I know my audience, and especially me, that's why I'm here. Not everybody's in a position to speak up. I'm here to speak up and to fight for that as long as there's still a chance. As long as there's still a fighting chance, I'm going to be fighting and swinging, metaphorically. So, but what's grossest is the Democrats and all the Trump haters that don't care why, don't care how, just want to see him in jail, want to see him off the ballot, want to see him lose. It doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, cheating, it don't matter. And the worst of these people is Joy effing Reid. Now, me as a Christian, I know I need to love my neighbor, and especially a hard commandment is to love your enemies too. So there's a part of me, I think I could have a drink with Joy Reid and maybe loosen her up, laugh, and maybe find some common ground on and hug at the end of the night. I have to believe that, because otherwise there's no point, and my faith in humanity is gone. But this race baiting, I almost called her a piece of trash. Her entire show, her entire point of view, her entire method, her entire devices are trash. They are divisive. They are the worst parts of this country, of this nation. All the things we've fought to overcome and to get to a point to where equality really is the norm, to where the people who are racist, the fringe haters, everybody out there are fringe and pretty much ostracized. Like, bro, that's how you think? I ain't got no time for you like that. To where we got to that point to where I believe the vast majority of Americans are that way. They look at the person next to them by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. She don't want that shit at all. She don't want Martin Luther King's vision at all. Let me show you what she got to say about this. And of course, it has to do with race.
But for me, there is something wonderfully poetic about the fact that despite the fact that even if convicted, he's not going to go to prison, the first person to actually criminally prosecute Donald Trump is a black Harvard grad, the very kind of person that his former staff, the people who worked for him, Stephen Miller, et cetera, want to never be at Harvard Law School. But he was. And he came out and graduated, and he's prosecuting you, Donald. And a black woman is doing that same exact thing in Georgia. And a black woman forced you to pay a $175 million fine that's out now also in question because the people who put it up, that might not be legit. Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle. And for me, there's something poetic and actually wonderful about that. It says something good about our country that we're still capable of having that happen. Go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home on today.
Look here. Can you imagine if the roles were reversed? Can you imagine thinking that yourself? I'm a Christian. Jesus told me that we're all the same. We're all equal under God. Thank you for the note in the chat. I did not know that there was some delay on the playback. I hope that didn't mess you guys up too much. I'll try to figure that out. Thank you for that. But basically, sitting there saying she's glad it's black people that's bringing the charges against Trump because it makes her feel good. And shout out to my DEIs out there. Hey, I can't imagine having that point of view, even that crossing my mind. Okay, it's so gross. And it's so 1960s. It's so much hate and vitriol and evil. Straight up evil. It brings me at a loss for words because actually coming up with some words, I'm going to say things I don't want to say. But she's spiking the football a little too early, I think, y'all. What y'all think about that? I think she's spiking the football a little too early because this might not work. We've seen what's happening with Fannie Willis in Georgia. Letitia James' trial is going to get overturned on appeal, I believe. If this trial gets to appeal, I think it will be overturned. The damage may have been done at that point. But if this trial gets to appeal, it'll get overturned too. So then when all this shit falls apart, Joy Reid, are we supposed to then say, there you go, DEI. I see you. 0 for 6. 0 for 90 effing 1, DEI. Yeah, is that what we're supposed to say? No, because I wouldn't go that way. I wouldn't sit there and say that all the cases that failed against Trump, look at them. If they had a white prosecutor, a white male prosecutor, they might have got something done. The way these people think, and the fact that MSNBC pays somebody to spread that evil and that vitriol on their airwaves to, 40 people a night. It ain't a lot of people. But still, it's a lot of money they pay this woman to be that evil. It's sad. It's sad. And then, if there wasn't no hypocrisy, there wouldn't be no left. And I'll tell you that. There wouldn't be no Democrats if it wasn't for hypocrisy. Do you remember what happened with Hillary Clinton and her campaign finance stuff? Do you remember that? If you don't, I'll remind you. That's what I'm here for, baby. I got your back. Look at here. FEC, Federal Election Commission, finds Hillary Clinton campaign and DNC over Trump Russia dossier research. Look at there. You remember that? They fined her. Federal election regulators fined Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign early this month. $8,000 personally to Hillary Clinton and $105,000 to the campaign. All they did was fine her ass. They trying to put Trump in jail about it and make him a damn felon about it. Oh, don't forget, Admiral Obama too. $375,000, one of the largest fines of all time. One of the largest fines of all time. $375,000 ever. One of the largest fees ever levied against a presidential campaign because they were moving money around willy-nilly all over the place too. Not obeying the law, breaking the law. It's funny how it happens to these Democrats, huh? That's the last two candidates. Once they're out of office, right? Once they're out of office, or at least lame duck. It's crazy the way this works. So, y'all, don't forget, if you're enjoying it out there, don't forget to hit the bell, hit the like, hit the sub. We're going to keep going out there. We know we've been along in this first segment. Shout out to everybody out there.
So if you like that clip and you want to see another one, click right here. And if you want to see the full episode, click right here.